our community meetings, we talk about the crime around the community and the things that we could do to not only the things that we would like to see the police do, but the things that the community as a whole could do, and how we can assist the law enforcement community in terms of addressing the crime. And I don't think that we're doing a really good job with whatever that connection could be. And one of the questions that I've always had from to Captain McCluskey is, what are the efforts that are joint with SEPTA and police? Because there is definitely, to me, it seems like it's a lot of energy that could be, there's some synergy in there where you could get a lot of stuff done if you were to work together. And when we look at where we're meeting at, so when we're meeting, typically we would be at the hospital, at Frankford Hospital. So of course, we're basically seeing a lot of activity in and around Margaret, Stop, and Bridge and Pratt. So those are the two stops that we typically think about, and that's what we're seeing when we're thinking about the things that are causing us the most concern. So, so one of the questions is, like, I guess a statement is, we don't see any evidence of any kind of cooperative effort between SEPTA and the Philadelphia police. And the question is, like, what are you guys doing?
Okay. Can I get out from behind this? I feel like I'm behind the table. So I've been a policeman for 32 years. I started with the transit police in 1982. I think it was the same year that the wheel was invented. I was with the SEPTA police for 3.5 years, and I went to the Philadelphia police, or as I like to call it, my family business, because 12 of us from my family were Philadelphia police officers. I was there for 23 years, went up through the ranks. Know Captain McCluskey very well, and I know why he's not here. He's probably chasing somebody down an alley at this very moment, trying to lock them up. Even as a captain, he's a very aggressive police officer. And those are the kind of people I like. I retired from the Philadelphia Police Department in 2007 and became the chief of Upper Moreland Township and was there for 5 years. It's in Montgomery County. And then I was recruited to come back to SEPTA. So in 2012 I returned. As I told you, I was here in 1982, and obviously things change from 82 to 2012, but something that I looked at with the Transit Police Department was, how do you deploy, and what are you doing? What kind of enforcement, prevention effort, what are you doing to make people feel safe and to actually make the system safe? So I'm a data-driven person. I believe pretty strongly in looking at information that you have, ridership, population, reported crime, information from neighbors, residents, riders, employees. All of that goes into the same pot, and you try to figure out, where should you be putting your cops? It'd be nice if we could put a cop on every corner. That'd be a wonderful world that would be upside down, because if we needed a cop on every corner, things are bad. But you want the police officers where the problems are. You don't want them just visible. And it was my opinion that the transit police were a visible entity and not necessarily an enforcement and prevention entity. So I've worked with Temple, along with Captain McCluskey, who has worked with Temple, the criminology department, in doing workload studies and evaluations of crime and deployment of police. I have laid off Margaret Orthodox because Temple has been doing a study to engage the Philadelphia Police Department and the Transit Police Department in a major enforcement effort at Margaret. I haven't been doing anything there.
So while they're doing their study, we just keep, okay, so now,
well,
all right, help me through this one, because my,
well, let me keep on going. Let me keep on going.
Okay.
So this summer, I had Temple do a workload study just for the transit police, and they confirmed what intuitively I knew, and that was in the area on the Market Frankford L from Front and York to Frankford and Bridge is my busiest area. But the police department had the same number of people working in that area as, say, South Broad, which had the lowest crime and the lowest number of calls for service and all of the other data that we had. On January 11th, we turned the department upside down. And officers are now assigned in transit districts. There are 6 transit districts. They're now assigned in the transit districts based on need. And Transit District 4 is this district. Sergeant Cavallero is one of the supervisors there. Transit District 4 now has double what any other district has in staffing. And Margaret Orthodox has now been one of their mission locations. Frankford Terminal, Margaret Orthodox. Church is actually a location for us where cell phone thieves run off the train. That's like the exit location for all of our cell phone thieves. Somerset, beyond, is a big location for us, but they've been focusing on Margaret Orthodox December, January. In December, there were 33 citations for quality of life issues. In January, there were 23. I'm a tweeter, and I got a Twitter message sent to me from a store owner at Frankford and Margaret who asked for our help. We've been working with that store regarding drug sales, and that's an ongoing investigation. So we're giving it attention. Has it been overdue? Yeah, it's been overdue. Can you be angry and frustrated and annoyed? Absolutely. But I would say that since this is my first time here and my first time speaking to any of you, you can be frustrated and angry and annoyed at the organization, but I would say give me a couple months and see if there's a difference.
So how much of what you're doing, you and Philadelphia do together though? Because if you're taking care of the same guy that the cop is taking care of, or isn't somebody, like what is it that you're doing together though?
Yeah.
Like how do you mix that so that you get the most out of it?
Nothing. I can tell you that we're the little brother and they're the big brother.
Okay.
All I can do is offer, and I have offered to team up our officers on foot beats. I have offered to engage our officers in tactical operations. We didn't know about the robbery pattern surrounding Frankford and Bridge until one of our customers told us.
Okay. Okay.
Question. When you mentioned that, so if there's a robbery around the terminal itself, both the police come in and respond to it. They don't send you any kind of a flash information or a notice that, hey, we had a robbery out there the other day or last night?
No.
I think that's one of your problems.
Yeah, no
I
good.
mean, they should know, if they're handling a robbery case and you don't get it directly, I think they should automatically say, hey, we had a robbery an hour ago.
I agree. Different parts of the city function in different ways. In other parts of the city, in the 26th district and the 24th district, I have officers assigned to their narcotics enforcement teams.
To the police narcotics.
Philadelphia Police Narcotics
Enforcement
Enforcement
in
Teams.
different areas.
Because the captains are in charge of deployment decisions and crime in their area. If they choose to use us as a resource, then that's up to them.
Okay.
I offer the resource, and the captain can use it as he feels fit. Okay. We're there to help.
How can you have say like constant patrol around the Margaret and Orthodox area? The reason why I am asking that is that last Friday was coming, while I was coming from prayer, there was a guy standing up right on the sector railway, and he was there urinating in broad daylight. Yeah. And I mean, you have people on the left and you have people on the right. So if there was, say, an officer in that area, I mean, when he stepped down the stairs, he could have been arrested for urinating and you know that's indecent exposure in the neighborhood and things like that is what brings the community down. So how do you go about having constant surveillance in that area?
Well, I can tell you, let me tell you about the camera issue. SEPTA got Homeland Security grant funds in mid-2000s for cameras. And SEPTA went to the city and said, look, we'd like to do the SEPTA L platforms and the stairs, and we'd also like to do the streets that intersect with that station. And the city said no. We don't want public domain surveillance on city streets. You can do what you want on SEPTA property, but we don't want it on city streets. Now that was prior to a question on the ballot, because Mayor Street put it on the ballot and said, vote yay or nay whether you want CCTV coverage of your city streets. And it was overwhelmingly voted in support, which changed how the city felt about cameras. So we now have money again to work at some of our stations that have not been upgraded, and Margaret Orthodox is one of those stations. We were involved in the recommendations for new cameras for Margaret Orthodox, and we're going to have some street level cameras. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it is in the process. It's in the plan, so we will have cameras there, which is good. Yes, ma'am.
Is there somebody watching those cameras, or is it just recording?
Yeah, it's recording. What we do is we tie it to operations we might be doing or calls. So what I would say is I'd love for you to all take down our radio dispatch phone number, and when you see something, you call that number, and one of Sergeant Cavallero's people will then respond. They'll be looking at cameras if we have cameras, and that's the nice thing about our technology is we have 13,000 cameras throughout the system. So when somebody calls and says there's a person acting suspiciously or whatever, they're dispatching officers, but at the same time, a dispatcher is bringing up that video and looking at the live feed to see what's going on and updating the officers as they're en route to that call. So it's a great technological benefit for us that city officers don't have. They're going into a situation blind, where ours have a set of remote eyes that are watching it. It's unrealistic to think that those 13,000 cameras can be watched all the time, but we can look at specific locations. So if Sergeant Cavallero is going to be doing a plainclothes operation at Margaret Orthodox, we're going to assign somebody to be watching the cameras at Margaret Orthodox and provide support for those officers. Somebody calls our dispatch and says something's going on. They automatically go to the cameras if we have them.
And that number is, that was one of my questions.
215-580-8111.
So that is 8111. That's like our SEPTA 911 number?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, goes right to our police dispatch.
Okay.